Well, hello, it is the live Penguins chat here on Pittsburgh Sports Live and PittsburghHockeyNow.com. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski. We just, I have not had a good week here in the studio. It seems like it's a little bit of a gremlin chasing deal. But want to do this live chat-wise. Want to get to your questions, comments. We are a couple games now into the preseason. That's, I think it's an important step because Wilkes-Barre-Scranton announced today that their training camp begins on the 24th. So you're going to see over the next few days the Penguins send down all of the guys, or a lot of them anyway, who you know will be playing in Wilkes-Barre. We can get into that here a little bit as well. Maybe some players you want to see if they'll stick around to the end, like Adam Johnson last year did that, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about Jordy Bellerive as well. But I really want to keep it kind of on your turf, what you want to talk about, where you want to go with this show. I want to do this weekly, just a live Penguins chat, maybe on Thursdays. Although, as Penguins' schedules dictate, we'll have to shuffle that around as the season unfolds. No vest today. I apologize. I did redecorate the studio just a wee little bit. And I'm actually diving in here so I can see the live chat feature as well. Of course, I have to mute myself. Don't you do that. Let's start with last night. Mark Recchi kind of dove into Daniel Sprong a little bit, and I can't help but think Mike Sullivan would have worded it a little bit differently. And for that, God bless Mark Recchi. Rex just went straight to it, and let me pull up his quote on Pittsburgh Hockey Now here. And he didn't really spare anything. Let me scroll down, and I'll show you what I'm reading here. I'll even highlight for you. There we go. So what Recchi said was he hasn't stood out like we would hope right now. We got to keep working with him, keep getting him games, keep getting him comfortable here. He's a good young player, and we expect more. He'll have lots of opportunities in the next 4 games. So that's where we stand with things. I don't know how to attack this with you, quite frankly, because I know that a lot of you really, really want to see Daniel Sprong. I'm just rolling through on Twitter here. Where was, I'm getting a bunch of likes from A. Cesarino, tweeted it. He reminds me of Ovi. Daniel Sprong might remind you of Alexander Ovechkin in the same way that JSD reminds you of Sidney Crosby. Boy, that's a huge leap. But look, I get this from a lot of fans, and so I want to kind of dive into this a little bit. Last night, someone said, hey, it's fine if you're going to give Sprong some constructive criticism. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know that Sprong is pulling up my website every morning. Okay, what did he say about me? What do I have to improve? Maybe Sprong isn't doing that so much. But it's like you can't be micro and just overanalyze Sprong. I think the reality is there's really 1 or 2 stories in Penguins training camp that you want to know about, that you're talking about. Otherwise, this would be a fairly humdrum, mundane training camp and preseason. Daniel Sprong is the wild card. And so if we focus on him, it's only because that's the story. Look at that. See, I'm telling you, the studio hates me this week. Let's get it back up there. That's what you get for buying a $10 iPad cover. But focusing on Sprong, in that sense is, one, I actually love the debate and discussion on Daniel Sprong because it gives me a chance to empty the cachet a little bit and really try to teach some people about parts of the game that I don't think many fans dive into. The full 200 feet, the position, all of those things that fans I know see offense. Can he shoot the puck? Yep, put him in. And hockey is really 10 or 12, 15 layers deep. Just to make sure, I was chatting with a friend of mine last night about this very topic. He's a former scout, now kind of a quasi-scout, quasi-hockey teacher. And what he said was 5 or 10 years ago, you had to have 100% hockey IQ and, let's say, 75% speed, skill, whatever else. Because the game wasn't played so fast, you had to be smarter to play it. Now that the game is played so quickly, and I found his insight really captivating, now that the game is played so fast, you don't need the hockey IQ, he said. Now it's gone from 100% hockey IQ, 75% the physical. Now it's 100% the physical, 75% the hockey IQ. In that sense, the game is coming to Daniel Sprong. And we talked a little bit about it on Tuesday, when indeed I showed you the video of Sidney Crosby. I guess I've gotten rid of it. Or I asked Sid about Sprong. Hey, on your line, and Sid laughed. Still don't know if he was laughing at me asking the question or the absurdity of the question. Given Mark Recchi's comments last night, I maybe began to believe the latter, that maybe Crosby wouldn't be enamored to play with Sprong, that maybe Daniel Sprong is not what some fans want him to be. I will tell you this. There is a great middle ground here, chance for nuance, between the Daniel Sprong will be an all-star and Daniel Sprong should never play hockey again. There's great middle ground, and I think the Penguins are going to have to find it here pretty quick. They've got 4 preseason games remaining. Honestly, how much do you expect to teach a guy in four games? Not a whole lot, right? That's a little bit of crazy town talk that somehow Sprong will get much better in 4 games. By the way, join us. The live chat feature on YouTube is up and running there. I can see it. In fact, you know what? Here's what I see. See? Right there over on the right. The video's a couple seconds behind what I'm actually doing. But hey, you know what? Join the conversation. Also, tweet me at the Dan Kingerski or at PGH Hockey Now. I do apologize for the Dan Kingerski. But when I was discussing moving on from the old Bud Moonshine, literally, someone jumped in and took every variation of my name except the Dan Kingerski. I'm sure it was one of the same people who were, mocking me for having to use it. I'll never quite fully understand the whole Twitter trolling deal. But hey, whatever floats your boat, right? But getting back to the Sprong teachable stuff, I like bringing you more parts of the game and maybe dropping a couple seeds and broadening some understandings of the game. I tweeted, what was it, last night? When Abdelkader trucked Daniel Sprong, which was the second night in a row that Sprong got hit, that I know exactly what Don Cherry would say. And there is that element of, the old guard. And Sprong hasn't necessarily always endeared himself to older players in the league. They see a guy like Sprong who wants to play 50 feet or 75 feet of hockey, or if they see a kid who maybe they thinks he's better than he is, he's going to get run over. Ristolainen got him on what's today? Yeah, Risto got him on Tuesday. Abdelkader got him on Wednesday. Jamie Oleksiak did come to Sprong's aid, which I thought was a really a good move by Oleksiak and probably made Sprong feel part of the team. But there's that thing. Look, Connor McDavid got run his rookie year because some guys were wanting to make sure the rookie knew his place. Brandon Manning of the Flyers broke his collarbone. And later on, it did come out that Manning intentionally took out McDavid. I don't know that he meant to take him out for most of the season, but he was going to put a hurting on the rookie. I think Sprong is in for a bit of that as well. So for everyone who only sees offense, take Mark Recchi's words certainly over mine, and know that Sprong has a long way to go. Looking through some comments here. Hey, the final word. Like the picture of our little. All I did was add that a little bit lower so that y'all could see it. Or should I say yins? I don't know. Let's get into. One thing we were having fun with last night. The Detroit broadcasters who were doing the game. I didn't actually watch the NHL Network feed. I watched the Detroit version, and they were talking about Evgeny Malkin should have been suspended for Game 7 back in the 2009 Stanley Cup Final. I have purged this from my memory. I remember Game 4, the fight late in the game for which he should have been suspended. The NHL's like, we're not going to take out Evgeny Malkin in the Stanley Cup Final. So they let that stand, and I guess Malkin should have gotten a third man in Game 6, according to the Detroit folks. And they're still a little salty over that. Although, unlike Buffalo, I haven't seen any bumper stickers from Wings fans that say, suspend 71. I guess now that would mean Larkin, probably up in Detroit, but you get my drift. It was an interesting conversation. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed the broadcasters last night. It was a preseason game. I thought they did a nice job of balancing the action, pulling you into the conversation. There are a couple oldies up there who've been doing that for quite some time, and I enjoy it. I like a bit of personality in the broadcast. The bend right now is for very straight-laced guys, kind of moving on from the Mike Lang era across the National Hockey League and across the minors. You're getting straight-laced. That's probably a bit of a reflection on society, isn't it? You can't tell jokes anymore. You can't. Did you hear the one about... Never mind. You're like, tell it, Dan. And I'm like, there goes my career. What little I've been able to salvage, right? So, hey, catch us on Twitter at the Dan Kingerski, at PGH Hockey Now. Also, or if you want to go at PGH Sports Live. See? Right there. Let me take my name off. Let me put that name back up there. Let's get to Jack Johnson just a wee little bit as well. And I want to share with you one of the tweets because I think it's really indicative of the kind of stuff that we've been seeing. And let's see here. Oops, don't want to put my private messages there. I wonder how I can do that. Maybe I can't. So I guess you'll have to say, Joe on Twitter said, Johnson has a lot to prove after sucking for the first 11 years of his career. Hard to see that turning around now, and hopefully he does not drag down Justin Schultz. Eek. I'll tell you flat out, that what I wrote today, one of my 3 takeaways from training camp, is that Johnson and Schultz have a real chance to be special. A real special pairing. The reason I say that, look, I know Johnson didn't have a great playoff series against the Penguins a couple years ago. He got burned a couple times. You really take the last couple years out of the equation for Johnson. I don't know how many of us could go through the trials and tribulations personally that he went through and not be just, I'd be radically embittered. There'd be no humility or humbleness about it. I'd be spitting nails. And it would affect my life or my professional performance when you've got that. So I give Johnson a little bit of a pass. I also trust that Mike Sullivan, when he went through games of video, by the way, we went through a lot of the games of Jack Johnson as well on Pittsburgh Hockey Now. We've done the analysis. We've talked to as many people as we can. Johnson, look at him last night. You could just see, you've seen the hop in his steps since day one of camp. For a guy whose career began back in 2006, coming out of the University of Michigan, he could be coasting at 31 years old. Instead, he looks reborn. He's had that hop in his step in camp. Last night, he picked his spots. He was physical. Those couple shots he unleashed from the top of the zone, good gosh, those were heavy blasts that he uncorked on the Red Wings goalie. And forgive me, I'm Hari Satari, or as the Red Wings broadcasters were calling him, Harry Satari. So there you go. There's just on paper, and what I've seen on the ice thus far, it's been a perfect balance. You've got Johnson, who's a bit better in his own zone. He's heavy, can provide some offense, good pass. You've got Justin Schultz, who's better in the offensive zone, coming along in the defensive zone. And so you put those together, and it's like chocolate and peanut butter. Or is it peanut butter and chocolate? Had a chance to ask Justin Schultz last weekend, in fact, about the adjustment. And he's like, really not much. You know, we're communicating. Right now we're just getting a sense of reading each other. I didn't see too much last night that said there's any issues there. It was smooth as silk. So for that, you know, and by the way, it's been, what, 5 years since the Penguins had a defenseman who looked like a fire hydrant? Crankshaft, old Douglas Murray in 13, was it? Yeah, that was that debacle with Ginla and Morrow and Murray that, what, they have 2 goals against the Bruins in 4 games or something? They don't mean to bring up bad memories. Hopping on the chat board here, Michael says Sprong will be traded by the end of the year. Michael, there's a very good possibility of that. If another team looks at Sprong and says, okay, we've got the time and the space to bring him along, and the Penguins are getting a little frustrated, yeah, that's a real possibility there. Brad says Jordy B and Diorio just got sent back to juniors. Addison still with the Pens. Thank you, Brad. I hadn't seen that news roll on Twitter. I've been here and a little busy. I like Diorio. I see some potential there. I don't know if he's an NHL goaltender, but he can be a professional goalie. Addison, again, another cheap plug here for Pittsburgh Hockey Now. My 3 thoughts. See, right there. I mentioned Addison specifically last night because there was a moment. Let's get rid of that. Let's put that one up now. There was a moment in the first period, a sequence last night with Addison, where he was just flying. Jumps into the forecheck, became the third man in on the forecheck. Realized quickly that the Red Wings had enough numbers back and were going to be able to break out. Jumped back to center ice in the blink of an eye. So the Red Wings then win the puck battle, attempt to clear. Addison jumps right back to the blue line. He was on the neutral side of the blue line. Intercepts the breakout, sends it right back in, and the Penguins were right back on offense. That's the good part. Now, later on, you saw one of the Red Wings' goals where Addison didn't really body up in the slot, and there was one, off the top of my head, I don't recall if that was the first period or the second period, when Jarry made the real nice right pad save on a deflection. And there again, that was Addison giving his man too much space, too much leeway in the slot. He's got to take that extra step forward, body up, tie up the stick, pick the stick, do whatever to make that deflection much more difficult than he made it. But otherwise, you know, it's been a long time since a Penguins second-round draft pick did anything. I think the all-time leader is still Greg Malone. They've just had, it's the curse of the second round for the Penguins. The only other NHL player who really came out of the second round, literally in 42 years with the Penguins, would be Alex Goligoski. And I don't think he played 200 games with the Penguins. I think it was under 200. I see Addison kind of in that go-go mode. You can teach a kid to step forward and tie up the stick. Now he's probably 175 pounds soaking wet right now, but a few cheeseburgers on the bus in juniors. I also wonder. Oh, you know what? I knocked Rowdy down. Look at that. Sorry. I also wonder if Addison sticks around for 8 or 9 games. Just let him travel with the NHL club. Let him practice. Keep him for as long as possible. Don't pull a Daniel Sprong and burn that first year of his ELC, but I could see them letting him hang around for a little while. I certainly would be open to the idea. So let's see here. Jack Johnson. Did I get sidetracked? No. I guess I covered Jack Johnson thoroughly and completely. He's going to be a banger on the Penguins' blue line. He and Schultz are just going to be really good. Look, if you don't take my word for it, just kind of go through a lot of the hockey analysts. There aren't many people other than the analytics crowd who don't get involved in the on-ice product. They're the only people who really jumped on the anti-Jack Johnson bandwagon. So if you separate that, there's a real good shot for Johnson. The third pairing is going to be interesting. Mata Oleksiak. And I was watching Oleksiak last night, and he's going to be very physical. And I wonder if they're not going to slide Mata over to that right side. Let Ole spread his wings offensively a little bit and keep Oleksiak tethered to his own zone. That way he can be more physical. That way he can inflict a few bruises. And Ole Mata has a little bit of offensive flair, doesn't he? He's got some offense. It's not going to be great. I want to see a few more games of Juuso Riikola, though. I didn't notice him in the camp scrimmages, to be quite honest. Didn't catch my radar, and I didn't quite understand, like, boy, everyone's really high on him. But then you watch him in the preseason, and you get it. He can skate. He's got a little bit of panache to his game. he really could make somebody expendable very soon. The Penguins might have a gem there. I think he has to prove himself in the American Hockey League. I don't think you're going to see Jamie Alexiak in the press box or Olli Maatta in the press box. That would be a little silly. But you could see Riikola logging some 23, 24 minutes down in the American Hockey League, and then the Penguins really deciding where he's at if they leave him there. Or if, hey, here's extrapolating into December and January, if a guy like Olli Maatta becomes trade bait. I can't imagine what the Penguins would need. They're stacked. They sure as hell won't need any more centers, will they? But whatever they decide, maybe they create some space for him. That's spitballing. Don't take that as anything close to gospel. Oh, Brad was updating me here. Addison was sent to the minors as well. See, there you go, Brad, making me look stupid again. I do well enough of that by myself. Bob Probert says, yeah, Riikola can play, great mobility, bomb of a shot. Joe says, Penn's organization has not won a game all season. Rookie tournament preseason. Actually, that's true. However, I don't think anyone's too worried about that, huh, Joe? Let's see who else. I've been impressed with Sprong's defensive play in the first 2 preseason games. Kid is maturing. I don't know. I really don't know about that. I've seen Sprong last night, case in point, and I tweeted a little bit about it. It was kind of the most glaring. There were actually 2 glaring examples of Sprong in the defensive zone. He lost his stick on the one sequence. And so there was a little bit of a scrum towards the corner, and Sprong just kind of came at the scrum, hands out, came at his own guy. And the Penguins won the puck battle, and Sprong is skating directly at his own guy. It was just kind of that, it's that lack of spatial awareness. That's gonna, you know what? That's natural, and Sprong is really going. I don't know how you change that. As a father of, I'm gonna bust on my son a little bit here. He knows I love him, but my son was another one of those who lacked spatial awareness in some situations, kind of in his own little world at times. But I don't know when that goes away. I'll let you know. My son is Sprong's age. So you really have to work and work and work at it. The other sequence that was egregious last night, and forgive me, I don't know if it was Riikola or Johnson, just snapped an outlet pass from behind the net to the near boards for Sprong, who was all alone, chance to skate forward, chance to make a lateral pass to advance the breakout and the rush. Instead, Sprong squared his shoulders and fired the puck out to center ice, right to 3 Red Wings, who quickly transitioned right back into the Penguin zone. That was a beyond a head scratcher, because there was just no reason to attempt that pass or to throw the puck there. It was all really a little bit bizarre. Like Sprong just forgot where he was for a few moments. I want to get to everybody's comments here. Oh, thank you, Brad. Brad apologizes to all of us. My bad. Joe says, I seem more positive on the team overall this preseason than I did last year. Oh, by a mile, Joe. Look, I told you last year the Penguins were first or second round fodder, right? Because they didn't have a third-line center. There were questions on defense. And there was a little bit of a question in goal to start last season. So, look at that. We just, Can we get it back? No? Is it frozen? So let me talk. For whatever reason, because we're on Apple products here, when there's a phone call, it freezes everything. Let's play a little movie for you. Let me try to... So maybe this is going to work. Let's see if it's going to reconnect. Da-da-da. Anyway, yes, Joe, I'm infinitely more positive because just if nothing else, I want you to compare Derek Brassard and Riley Sheahan as third-line centers, right? Compare those two. Compare those two alone. Hey, look. There I am. Let's... I'm on my FaceTime camera. Never let it be said that I won't do anything to finish the broadcast, right? And now the iPhone is gone. So be it, right? Let's turn and talk to you here. Plus, I think last year, Matt Hunwick versus Jamie Alexiak, right? There's a huge difference with the third pairing. Alexiak and Mata versus Hunwick / Ruedel. I'm even forgetting who else was on that third pair to begin last year. And we also didn't know where Olli Mata would be. He had a very good year last year, but coming into the year, he was a little beaten up, and maybe not all over it like he was at the end of the year. Okay. I think this is about to wrap up the Pens chat, unless you all got a little bit more, and you can actually see the brick there. Boy, can't get the iPhone back. Rolling through Twitter to make sure I haven't missed any. Yep. Okay. I think we've got all of your comments and questions taken care of. So we'll do this again next week. Hopefully next Thursday we'll have another Penguins chat. I'll make sure to bring a better vest. You know, got a little wrinkly today. No vest to roll. Appreciate y'all on YouTube. Appreciate y'all watching this later on Twitter and on the website as well. Until we talk again, kids, have fun.